Hello there, adventurers. So tonight I decided to take a quick hike because we're about to get rain for a week. I came up to the top of the Bell Gap Rail Trail, and as I was driving up, I noticed that the Game Commission has the other mountain on fire doing a prescribed burn. Not sure if we're going to be able to see it very well or not. It was kind of neat at first. It was like a whole bunch of little clouds of smoke coming up out, but now it's just one big cloud of smoke. So anyways, Bell Gap Rail Trail. So down at the bottom in the town of Bellwood is the Bell Gap Rail Trail, trailhead. But also at the top is a parking lot for state game lands. That would be the ending point if you started down there and went the whole trail. I do have a video, I guess a short, about the Bell Gap Rail Trail. But what I thought was interesting as I was walking back here tonight is the amount of work way back in the 1800s that these men, probably women and children too, had to do to carve out this railroad. As I was walking through my favorite thing, rocks and trees, you can see that these were either blasted, cut, or who knows what else when they put the railroad grade in. As we get further up here, you will be able to see. So back there where we were, if you read this stuff at the bottom of the rail trail at the trailhead parking, they would actually fill the gaps in with dirt, and that's what you're seeing here. I'm not sure it's going to show up on video, and it won't, but that's nearly straight down cliff. We got some bugs crawling in front of the camera. But so anyways, back to what I was saying. So they had to somehow get through all of this rock to get this grade, because here's a little better view of the smoke. It's normally a beautiful view, but right now it's smoke. There's the sun trying to shine through it. I don't even think it's showing up. So here's, that's every bit as high as 2 stories of a house. Got a crow joining the conversation. So they cut through this, however they did it. I can probably research and find out. But this was way back in the day. One of those nice places right here where I could probably sit for all of eternity, just stare out through this gap that you can't really see. So here you can start to see where they went clean into the hill. So you got this on one side and the start of this on the other. This doesn't make any sense, I know. I was just taking a hike and wasn't even going to make any video, but some people just like to see things, and that's about the only reason why I do what I do. So that people can see things that they might not otherwise ever get to see. And unfortunately, sometimes that's just rocks and trees. I was hopeful for some wildflowers, but there hasn't been any other than those violet things that I've already shown in my videos quite often. But so they had to dig their way through here, pound their way through here, however they did it. I just thought that was kind of neat. So thanks for coming along on a little bit of my evening hike here. YouTube's an interesting thing. I posted what's probably my stupidest video, where I took a shortcut and ran into a rock city of sorts. For some reason, YouTube pushed it, and I tried to make some more interesting videos, and apparently the only people that are seeing it are the people that are checking back on the channel. So I appreciate everyone that has done that. Anyways, Bell Gap Rail Trail through the cut that they made to make the grade to get the coal and the lumber down off to PRR's main line in Bellwood. I would love to come back here, make a more historical, interesting video, but that may not happen. Or it may. Thanks for coming along. Hope to catch you in the forest. So I'm nearly to the top, and on the way down I was going to do something with these signs here at the Lloydsville Site A and B passive treatment system ponds. And since I did do a video, I figure maybe I'll talk about it here real quick. So we're State Game Lands 158 and near the town of Lloydsville, PA. History and heritage. Coal mining. Coal mining in Pennsylvania helped fuel the Industrial Revolution in the United States. In 1889, Pennsylvania was America's #1 coal producer. That year alone, more than 80,000 tons of coal were mined statewide. The next largest coal-producing state, Illinois, mined only about 12,000 tons. So, then we get down to the railroading. Railroading was the biggest business of the 19th century. Very few, if any, industries affected the growth of America as significantly as the development of the ability to transport goods and people by rail. Pennsylvania's role in early railroading history was second to none. With the completion of the Horseshoe Curve in 1854 and the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869, large-scale expansion into the western United States became possible. It goes on to say a few more things. From the main lines of the PRR, dozens of smaller independent railroads sprouted up in cities and towns across the state. The spur lines would bring goods into the towns and export local resources to the main line and the rest of the United States. One such spur line was the, as mentioned, Bell's Gap Railroad. So Lloydsville, the right place at the right time. The town of Lloydsville played a crucial role in the coal mining history of this region. Lloydsville is situated along the Allegheny Front, where the lower Alleghenies to our east meet the higher peaks of the Allegheny Mountains to our west. This area was home to numerous easily accessible seams of bituminous coal. These seams were heavily mined to help fulfill America's energy needs during the Industrial Revolution. The town of Lloydsville prospered in the late 19th and early 20th centuries for several reasons. Lloydsville possessed abundant coal and timber resources, as well as a strong, determined workforce. In 1872, Lloydsville, population of 600, was made up almost entirely of coal miners. Furthermore, the Pennsylvania Railroad main line was only 20 miles away in the town of Bellwood. When the Bells Gap Railroad spur was built in the 1870s, it connected the people and resources of Lloydsville with the PRR main line and the rest of the nation. I highly doubt it's 20 miles though, and I see somebody actually has it blacked out. So then we get on to the Bells Gap Railroad. It was originally constructed as a narrow gauge railroad. The main purpose of the railroad was to transport coal and timber from the Allegheny Front to the Pennsylvania Railroad at Bellwood. From there, the goods would be transported to various cities along the PRR main line. Coal was moved out of the region for decades at the rate of about 80 tons per day. Additionally, the Bells Gap Railroad brought goods from the PRR main line into towns like Lloydsville, Fallen Timber, and Blandburg. The Bells Gap Railroad also operated 3 passenger cars per day. Accessibility increased further when the Bells Gap Railroad was upgraded from a spur line to a standard gauge railroad in 1883. This change allowed for an easier exchange of railroad cars at the PRR main line. Goods no longer had to be unloaded and reloaded between cars of different gauge sizes. So this was actually also a excursion rail, and they had picnic areas and everything on here. If you read the signs down at the lower trailhead, it'll tell you all about that. I just wanted to give you a little bit of history. Maybe you think it's neat, maybe you don't. Let me know in the comments. I could come back and do a little more, or I can just keep showing you rocks and trees and ponds and bumblebees. And there are some, I think they're, I don't know, red-breasted blackbirds or something. They have like an orangish thing on them. If you like bird watching, this is a great place to be. They're here somewhere. Thanks again. Catch you in the forest.